All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium with a wrap-up of what happened down here in Santa Clara on a Thursday as the Niners are getting ready to take on the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Also, this video is brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Go talk to my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. And the Niners take on a Seahawks team that is being coached by Mike Macdonald, the former Ravens defensive coordinator who had so much success on Christmas night going up against Brock Purdy in this 49er defense. But let's talk a little bit about the matchup. And Macdonald talked today in Seattle, and he talked about how Purdy, is a guy that it's hard to sack. He's hard to sack. Seattle is focused on trying to get him on the ground. He says, they're saying it's a point of emphasis this week in Seattle, where they're trying to not just get to Purdy, not just bother Purdy, but actually bring him to the ground. Purdy has never lost to Seattle. He's had a ton of success against them. Here's Mike Macdonald earlier today talking about the point of emphasis trying to sack Purdy on Sunday.
You guys had 26 pressures against the 49ers, but only a couple of hits and no sacks.
Yep.
Purdy scrambled around a lot. Is that a focus for you guys this week?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. He's a tough guy to get on the ground, and he is looking to kind of extend plays more this year, and that adds an element to their offense that you definitely have to account for. So how you build the rush plan pressure wise, it's not tough because it's not easy to just throw a bunch of bodies at them because he understands when they're hot and where to go with the ball, and they have answers built into all those types of things. So. Yeah, you got to try to get him on the ground. Now we have things that we're trying to do. We'll save that for our discussions, but it's definitely a point of emphasis.
What is it about Purdy that makes him tough to get on the ground?
Well, I mean, he's a heck of an athlete, and then he's got like a lower center of gravity, so he's like stronger than he looks. And then when he does get out in space, I mean, he's a mobile guy. He's an athletic dude. Like his change of direction is pretty good. Like. He feels the rush, understands timing, so I think there's a lot of things that go into it.
So there you go. Mike Macdonald talking a little bit about his desire to hopefully sack Brock Purdy on Sunday. Now, Purdy's career against Seattle, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1,381 passing yards, a 118 passer rating, and a 5-0 record. How about that? Interesting, I asked Nick Sorensen today about Nick Bosa. Bosa is playing a lot of snaps. He's playing 86% of the Niners' snaps, 10% more than he's ever played in his career. Leonard Floyd is also playing 10% more snaps than he played a year ago, and they're not having a lot of success. I asked Sorensen about, hey, are you going to have to, add somebody to the mix so you don't tire these guys out? And, he just totally downplayed it like, no big deal. No big deal. We have Nick Bosa, we have Leonard Floyd, we have Sam O, we have Robert Beal, and that's it. We only have Alex Barrett on the practice squad. I mean, the 49ers, Nick Bosa's got a hip injury, didn't practice this week, played a bunch of snaps, probably didn't play as effectively as he could have if they had been deeper. Niners don't seem that bothered by it, don't seem in any way impacted by the fact that Bosa and Floyd are out there for way too many snaps. So we'll see. But, Yetur Gross-Matos could be making a return somewhat soon. He's been practicing. It looks like he's getting closer to playing, so maybe he's the answer. But odds are 49ers are going to have to wind up signing a veteran free agent at defensive end between now and the end of the year. And they're not getting vintage Bosa performances out of Bosa because they're overusing him. They don't have quality depth, so they're using Bosa 86% of the snaps. They're playing Floyd a huge percentage of the snaps as well. He's playing 63%. Just to put this in perspective, last year Floyd played 54% of the snaps. And this year he's playing 63%. Last year Bosa played 76% of the snaps. This year he's playing 86% of the snaps. Bosa and Floyd are playing a lot of snaps. 86% for Bosa. It's as far and away as career high. What's the plan to make sure those guys get to January? Is Matos coming back? Are you looking at free agents? How do you help those guys?
We try to, but we want to win the game, and I think it's something Bosa, he's willing to do. And obviously, you want to protect him, but there were a couple games early on we didn't have as many snaps either. So you can talk percentage, but it's also depending on the game. I think that happened early in the year at a high percentage, but some of those games we were in the 50s. So it really depends on the game.
So Sorensen didn't think it's a big deal, so we'll see how it goes going forward. The Seattle team kind of beats themselves. They're third in the NFL in penalties with 74. Baltimore leads. The Jets are second. Seattle's third. The Niners Seattle has 74 penalties. Niners have 51 by comparison. So the Niners are a whole lot less penalized than the Seahawks thus far. George Kittle with his hamstring was back at practice today. That was good to see. Looks like Kittle's going to be a go on Sunday against Seattle. We talked to Chris Forster. I asked Forster, what makes these division games so difficult? And he's like, just we know each other. We know them, they know us, and a lot of times that right there can make it more difficult. I asked Brock Purdy today. I said, Brock, are you aware that you're 4-0 this year when you don't turn it over, and 16-0 career when you yourself don't turn it over? And he said he kind of wasn't that surprised by that's a major focus every week is avoid turnovers. But 4-0 this year when you don't fumble the ball or throw an interception, I think you're 16-0 since you've been here in those situations. When you hear those numbers, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I mean, it makes sense. If you win the turnover battle, I forgot what the stat is, but it's, it's almost an automatic win. And so for me, that's my job, and I take pride in that in those games where, you don't turn the ball over or anything like that, and you're protecting the team, you're protecting the offense, and your defense can then go out and create turnovers, and you can feed off each other. So, that's a huge part of the game, and so it makes sense, and that's probably the case with a lot of teams around the league. The quarterbacks that play smart and do their job and put up points without turning the ball over, you're going to have a really, really high chance of winning. So that's the goal every week.
I mean, really, when you think about those numbers, that's overwhelming. 16-0 career for Brock Purdy when he doesn't turn it over. I mean, it's really the key to the game for him. Not practicing today, Nick Bosa with the hip, Trent Williams with the ankle, Mooney Ward is still away from the team, Kevin Givens with the groin, Mitch Wishnowsky with the back. None of those guys practiced. Jordan Mason did practice, but he practiced in a blue non-contact jersey. CMC did practice. George Kittle did practice. Malik Mustafa has just been a revelation. He's wearing number 6. He's got the best catch rate over in the NFL at 44.9%. He's got the best numbers against all defensive backs in catch rate allowed, 16.7%. That's best among all defensive backs. He's 4th best in the league in passer rating when targeted, 32.6. Mix in the fact that he's the Niners' hardest hitting defensive back, and Malik Mustafa has just been a revelation. And to me, as the weeks go by, it's pretty obvious that Malik Mustafa and Renardo Green are awesome additions in the secondary. Geno Smith said today that that this 49er game on Sunday is very personal. And he probably is taking it personal at this point because he gets his butt kicked against the Niners all the time. Geno is 0-5 in Seattle as a starting quarterback against the 49ers. Dom Pooney has not given up a sack this year in 350 pass blocking snaps. It's a great number for Pooney. One of the things I think is going to be interesting is that, now that Demo Lenore is signed, the Niners have 4 primary free agents, and I'd love to know. I mean, we kind of knew that Demo was the priority to try to re-sign in the offseason, but out of Mooney Ward, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and Aaron Banks, my guess is the 49ers are only going to be able, because of their other commitments, to probably only sign one of those guys. So who do you want? Who do you want out of that group? I'd probably take Greenlaw. Banks would be my second choice. I could say goodbye to Hufanga and Mooney Ward and be fine. But Greenlaw, I think you got to re-sign. And Banks, I think I would try to re-sign. The key to victory on Sunday for the 49ers, what is it? Well, one of the keys is stopping DK Metcalf. Expect to see DK in the slot quite a bit. Niners have struggled against slot receivers this year. And, also JSN, Jackson Smith Njigba. He had 5 catches for 53 yards in the first game. If you look at the October 10th game, Niners-Seahawks, DK caught 3 passes on 11 targets for 48 yards. This is a big question on Sunday. Can the Niners get Mooney Ward back? Mooney is so good at playing DK, and you got to feel much better about the Niners' chances of winning this game on Sunday if Mooney's there to defend DK. The other key this weekend is stop Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's got 99 rushes this year for 398 yards. He goes for 4 yards a carry and six touchdowns on the year. But he's really, and where the Niners really have to worry about him on Sunday, is out of the backfield. He's got 30 receptions for 217 yards. He's the 3rd graded rusher in the NFL, by the way. He's only played 7 games. But in Week 6 against the 49ers, Kenneth Walker had only a 17% target share and only 8 receptions. The Niners are allowing the sixth most receiving yards to running backs in the entire league. So if there's a way or one area where I would expect Seattle to attack the 49ers, expect them to throw the ball to Kenneth Walker out of the backfield. The Niners have to establish the run in this game against Seattle and dominate the time of possession. When you look at the amount of snaps that their D-line is playing and how relatively thin the Niner D-line is, it's really important that they play complementary football and dominate the time of possession. Now, the Niners are second in the NFL in time of possession, but I think they even need to dominate it more. It means that the Niner O-line's really got to take control. Now, who have been the weak spots on that O-line? Jake Brendel is the Niners' lowest-rated offensive lineman. He's got a 62.2 offensive grade, which is 22nd. He's got a 41.8 pass-blocking grade, which is 36th out of 36 offensive centers. And he's got a 64.5 run-block grade, which is 14th in the league. But that pass-block grade is the lowest pass-blocking grade of any center in the NFL. So that's been the weak spot. Colton McKivitz is got a 65.4 pass block grade. That's 48th. So he's not great either at right tackle. But he's 70.3 as a run block grade. That's 27th. He's been a little higher graded overall. But the pass blocking of Jake Brendel on paper, at least statistically, has been a problem. Seattle's lowest graded offensive lineman, by the way, is Anthony Bradford, the right guard. He's got a 50.4 offensive grade, which is 72nd in the NFL. He's got a 51.6 pass block grade. That's 67th or 64th, I should say. And he's got a 58.6 run block grade. That's 56th. So Seattle's offensive line pass protection has been a major, major issue for them. And, one stat to remember in this game, 5 of the last 6 quarterbacks to face Seattle have thrown for 250-plus yards and 2 touchdowns or more. And during this whole run, Seattle is ranked 29th in pass defense and is giving up 8.4 yards per attempt. So Purdy is a top 5 fantasy quarterback this week. And look for Juwan Jennings to have a huge day against Seattle. In the 2 games that Jennings has played where Debo or Ayuk did not start, JJ's got a 36% target share. So he's top 6 in yards per target. He's top 6 in yards per route run. With no, Ayuk, expect Juwan Jennings to have another big day against Seattle. All right, that does it for the recap on this Thursday. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.